are authentic people specifically. So that's where our focus is going this year. So watch for, very soon we'll be announcing dates. And I know we have some really, really great things planned that will take the test of time. So even though we planned them 2 years ago, I think we're gonna be fine with doing it this year. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Anybody else on here? Everybody get your screens on if you can, please. Tim should be joining us pretty quickly. I think he's supposed to be on here too. And then we record these, Brad, and okay, they go into our video library.
Great.
That we're building right now. I think we've had 40, 50 things in there. Several people that are on this call are part of our video library. I see Sarah Waller. Sarah was part of the team that did a presentation last week on Canva and branding, and that was fantastic. You guys did a super
nice
job. Yeah.
Am I going to be able to share my screen, Carol?
Yes, I'm going to make you a co-host.
Okay, I just got really nervous that Sarah did something on Canva. We created a little slideshow on Canva. We'll see if it works.
Sarah can help you if it doesn't.
Yeah, definitely. I'm here.
Okay.
Here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. How's everybody's week? You guys been having an okay week? Any good successes going on? Who wrote the most offers this week? Two? Anybody write two? Anybody get 1, 3, 4? What's your numbers? Got anything going on? Krista Luther, what are you doing?
Well, I'm currently taking off my coat because I just flew into my office.
Did you?
I just put writers on a listing, so that's my good success.
Yes. Where's your new listing?
15918 Harney Street. It's a really pretty 2-story custom, 4-bed, 3-bath, 3,400 square feet, 340,000.
Oh, I think we might have a buyer for you.
Showing start at noon.
Oh, it's 2-story? 2-story. Okay. Well,
yeah.
All right. Well, we might have one of those too. Somebody does. Everybody does. Probably Brad does, even in Indiana.
We have 7 showings right now. So.
Do you really? Jeez, that's amazing. It's like kind of like throwing steaks into a lion's den, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna get it? All right. Let's go with 12:04. Everybody that's on, if you can turn your cameras on, we'd appreciate it. If you can't, we know you might be just running around somewhere, but I'd love to have everybody give Brad their best attention. Brad Noll, who is from Fort Wayne, Indiana, has been a good friend for several years. We've known each other through Buffini, but also because we connect at a place where we do business by relationship. And Brad and I were just hosting, we co-host, co-moderate a show on Clubhouse on Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock, and usually with Barbara Betts and Brad and I. And Barbara wasn't there today, and she usually takes the lead, so it was Brad and I on our own. But it was a great conversation. We talked about core values and mission statements. And I love this guy, and I love his heart and his head and how it comes together and builds relationships. And on one of our shows that we were on a couple of weeks ago, Brad was talking about a campaign that they've been doing to get more listings. And actually he changed the title of it. It's called Get More Listings and You Don't Have to Be the Hero, or something close to that, without being the hero. But I loved how they rolled this out from a place of being the trusted advisor versus, hey, you want to list your house? You want to list your house? You want to list your house? So I'm gonna let you do your own little bit of background self-introduction, Brad, and then take it from here. And then we'll have plenty of time for questions, or if you guys want to throw questions into the chat, I'll feed them over to Brad, and I'm just going to let him take it. And his Canva presentation that he's not too sure of. So, okay,
Let me
Brad.
make sure. Okay, perfect. I'm making sure I can pull some stuff up here. All right, thank you for having me. My name is Brad Noll, and I'm the broker owner of Noll Team Real Estate in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I played Division I college basketball and been coached all my life. So when I heard there was coaching for realtors, I signed up and didn't go to an event, didn't hear anything. I just said, there's a coach, so I'm in. And that's how Carol and I get connected is through that organization I'm sure you're all familiar with. Back in the third grade, my grandfather started a real estate company, and where it took off from the third grade, and then we moved to the timeout. You could care less about me. You're here today to figure out how you can get more listings. So what I just did is I started to talk about me, and that's not relevant to you. What's relevant is how can you get more listings? And what we're seeing in the market, I don't know if you guys are experiencing this, is so many realtors are putting out on social media and all over, I sold a listing in a day. Homes are flying off the shelf. Sold this listing in 24 hours. We had 87 offers and it sold for 50,000 over. Is that rhetoric in your marketplace also, or is it just in ours?
Oh, Lola, no. Don't step on that.
So one of the things is that we have to understand how to communicate to people. We have to understand how to speak their language so that it invites them into the story. So what I'm going to do today is I've got an outline. I'm going to share the goal of what this campaign was about. I'll share a little presentation because I want you to have something to take away. I want some action items for you. So I'm just not talking about how we doubled our listing inventory and we have all these listings. We're actually in the middle of the campaign. So I'll share that with you. I want to talk to you about a term that maybe some of you have heard of called narrative transportation. And narrative transportation is inviting somebody into the story. Have you ever watched a movie and cried or laughed? You know, been seen a stand-up comic and you know was busting up laughing because you know what they're talking about. So we're going to talk about narrative transportation a little bit. And then we're going to talk about a communication framework that we used. So hopefully this is going to be valuable. I don't know if it's going to be an hour, but if you have questions, maybe. I'm just going to share what I'm doing and hopefully it helps somebody. So the goal of this entire campaign was to first educate our past clients. It was then to add value. We wanted to always be a resource in our community. And then the obvious one is who doesn't need more listings right now? So as we get started, that was educate, add value, and get more listings in that order. All right, here we go. Share my screen. Present. All right.
Score, you're up.
Is it up?
It's
Okay.
up.
Get more listings without being the hero. How do we do that? The first thing we did, I'm moving my my Zoom camera so I can see. All right. So the first thing we did is we created a group in our database of clients who have lived in their home 3 to 10 years. In our market, if you've lived in your home 3 years, there's a good chance you're gonna do well. So the first thing is we created that group. Our very first group had about 77 people in there. The next group we created had about 20, 25. So ultimately we were shooting for 100. We wanted 100 people that we could communicate with. Next up, and believe it or not, we had to confirm our client's information. How many people in your database you sold a home to 7 or 8 years ago and they've already moved? But if I go back and I look at my groups, I've got to make sure that I get that information right. So we confirmed their information. Next up, what we did is we ran an RPR report and we printed it out for each client. So Realtor Property Resources has an easy report you can go and click on. It's one of the fast reports. One of the things we've discovered is not all of the reports were very accurate. Some of them were, but not all of them were. So it allowed us an opportunity to have a conversation about the algorithms that you see on Zillow and Realtor.com and even RPR, for example. Then we created a cover letter. We added a scratch-off lottery ticket. And then we added a personal note. We had a postcard that was included that showed the call to action, what they need to do. And then we sent a follow-up video. So this is all, everything went in the mail. And then I texted them a video we created. So there's your application. Here's a copy of the letter. And Carol, I can send this to you so that it's available if you'd like. And I'll get into this here in just a second and kind of go through the framework of how we're talking to our clients. We created this postcard, you'll see on the right. It says next steps. So we created a QR code. It's a landing page where they can go and they can fill out just a quick name, address, phone number. It was find out what your home is worth. This was then an action item for us to the 100 that we sent out. These are the people that raised their hand and said, yes, I want to know what my home is worth. So this postcard was included. The QR code was there so they could scan it from their phone and fill it out. If they wanted to go to our website, we showed them exactly how to do that. When you go to our website, a pop-up should appear and it'll take you to the same place. Here's an example of the letter we sent out. Smith family, just like a lottery ticket, your home might be worth more than you think. Here was a copy of the video, and I'm going to try to share that. We'll see if the audio works. Again, your home is worth more than you think. You can see this this theme throughout. How many times does it take for somebody to remember something? What do they say? 7 or 8 times until they see it? Well, why does this all work? And what are we doing? And why are we not saying, hey, sell your home in a day? So narrative transportation, it refers to the concept where a person is placed into and immersed in the world of story or narrative. This term also implies that once a person is lost in the story, so to speak, then not only do their attitudes reflect that story, but their intentions do as well. So what we need to do is if you're blasting to your sphere that every home is selling in a day, that may not speak to me. That may mean okay, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? You haven't given me the path in which I can succeed from, or my family. So what we have to do is we have to invite somebody into a story. What that means is the story we tell has to be so good that it invites them into it. So the framework we got from, I'm a big fan of Donald Miller. Check out his stuff, Business Made Simple University. Our team subscribes to that. Great courses. They have great individual courses. But there's a communication made simple framework, and it talks about how to deliver a message. I'll get to this here in just a second, but the framework of it is the controlling idea, the story question, agitating the problem, the stakes, the guide, the plan, the call to action, and then foreshadowing the climactic scene. All right, finish up that presentation here. I'm going to get this video. Let me see if I have it here. All right, I'm gonna play the video. It's about 1:30, and this is what I sent to our clients.
Brad, we don't have any sound.
I'll send it to you. I'll go ahead and send it to you. So that video was a text message that was sent after we sent the packet out. Then we had the letter that was included. That one was also in the presentation. I'll make sure you have a copy of that. But I want to talk about the communication campaign and how that works and why it works. So the controlling idea is what you want your audience to remember. The story question is something that you want to be answered by the end of the presentation or by the end of the communication. Agitating the problem. People need to know, why do I need to move right now? The stakes. What are the stakes? If I don't make this decision, what's going to happen? When you're the guide, what they want to know is empathy and authority. Do you empathize with me? Do you know what I'm going through? The plan, you got to give somebody a very clear plan. We usually like to use 3 steps. What are the 3 steps in the plan? Then there's the call to action. Well, what am I supposed to do with this information? So the call to action was go to our website, fill out this form, and we'll let you know what your home is worth. And then we foreshadow the climactic scene. If they take advantage of this, what's going to happen? For us, the controlling idea was your home might be worth more than you think. The story question that we want to answer is now the right time to move? Agitating the problem is waiting could cost you thousands of dollars. We all know interest rates are going up. What is the cost of waiting? When interest rates go up, sometimes it limits the buyer pool, and we know prices soften a little bit. Prices might come down. So the stakes are, if you don't take action, what's going to happen? The guide, we want to empathize with them. We told them that we don't want you to be homeless. That's probably somebody's fear right now. Okay, great, I'm gonna sell my home, but what do I do? So we empathize with them. We don't want you to be homeless. But last year, our team helped 150 families find their next house, the home that they're in. And so we were able to articulate, there's a lot of moving parts right now. We also were able to show them that last year, the transaction volume was up 8% in our marketplace. There are homes selling. It doesn't feel like it right now. And it doesn't feel like it because there's not many choices. That doesn't mean that there's not a lot of homes selling. So we're also the authority figure. We're going to help them understand what the market's doing. The plan, we have to give them a very specific plan. Go to our website, fill out this form, and Brad will follow up with you to let you know what your home is worth. Foreshadowing the climactic scene. What does that mean to us? What does that mean to our sellers? It means you have to remember why you started. And by remembering why you started, we can then paint this picture of, imagine protecting your financial security and getting an upgrade to the lifestyle you want to live. So as we rolled out this communication campaign, the way we built the video, sorry you couldn't hear that, but the way we built the video and the way we put together the cover letter, it all said the same exact things. What we did is we took the communication campaign and we just reorganized the order in which we presented it. So by reorganizing that information, we are able to then send a video and send a cover letter. Also use one of those talking points in our personal notes we're sending. And by doing this, we said the exact same thing, probably 6 different times, but in 3 or 4 different ways.
Hey, Brad,
Everybody probably, yeah.
can I ask you a question about that? How did you come up with what you guys all agreed upon was the narrative, the story to bring people into?
Sure.
Did everybody together do that? Did you as the broker do it?
Yeah. So my assistant Karen and myself, and then Lindsay, we all sat down and we did this one day. We put it on a whiteboard, and here's the good news. The good news is it doesn't have to be perfect. There's probably 3 or 4 different controlling ideas that you could have. There's probably a couple different story questions people want to know, but that's not the important part. The important part is just to clarify your message. When you confuse people, it's tough for them to metabolize the information that you're giving them. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be so clear in telling people exactly what we're looking for, but also what the value is to them. In the video, one of the things that I highlight, as well as in the letter, is, what's the plan for your home's equity? What is the plan for your home's equity? And I know, Carol, you and I talked about this a little bit. Have we stopped to ask ourselves, what's the plan for our home's equity? Is that a question that you're asking your sellers, your clients? Somebody who bought their home 5 years ago has equity. What's the plan for it? Is the
Mhm.
plan to pay your home off? That's awesome. Let's encourage that. But most people, I would say, don't have a plan for it. So when you start with, that question, you're inviting somebody into a story. Then you continue, and we use these talking points, but then we highlight, if you're looking to update your home and want to know the value, we can help with that. Maybe you're meeting with your financial advisor and you simply want to know your net worth. I want to know my home's value for my net worth. We can help with that. Most of our clients, maybe you want to get into investment real estate. You can use some of your home's equity for a down payment in an investment property. So by highlighting these different things, what we're doing is we're not speaking to one person. We're not saying your home, your home's going to sell quick, let me list it.
Yeah. Well, the thing I think that was so attractive to me about the whole topic of what you talked a little bit about, not as in depth, on our clubhouse call, was that it was a new question. What is your plan for your home's equity? I think having that question at the top of mind as a realtor is so much better than, do you want to buy or sell? What's the plan for your home's equity? And there's so many choices in that besides, I'm not selling my house. What are you asking me that for?
Sure.
So that's what I kind of wanted to hear you say out loud, because I know you did it in the video. But yes, keep going.
No, it goes back to, remember why you started. So why we started, we wanted to educate our past clients. We wanted to add value to what they were doing, and then obviously get some listings. Who doesn't need more listings? We all talk about that. But if you start from the basics of this referral business, what is a referral? It's a relationship. It's a connection. It's somebody advocating on your behalf. Well, how do you get them? We talked about this morning in Clubhouse. If you believe in the science of relationships, it's reticular activator. It's top of mind. It's being the person that they think of. It's critical mass. It's Kleenex, Rollerblade, all these brands that are actually brand names, but the industry is now named after them.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're educating all of these people, I don't have to call my past clients and say, hey, Andy and Hillary, I know you just moved in 3 years ago. I know you love your home and you're thinking about doing some stuff to it, but now's a great time to sell. Do you know what you could get for it?
Yeah.
No. Our kids are in school and it's COVID season and this and that. Like, our lives are too chaotic. Oh, okay. Well, what if I approached it and said, what's the plan for your home's equity? And they say, well, I don't know. What do you mean? Well, we have a lot of investors coming in from out of state right now because the cost of living in Indiana is very affordable and we have great cash flow. So have you thought about adding some investment properties, to your portfolio? Well, guess what? Andy's a financial advisor. And guess what he's asking me about now?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, I'm very well diversified in stocks and in the markets, but tell me what you're doing with these investment properties again. I don't want to miss out. So again, that narrative transportation, a bad movie will not bring you into the story in the first 10 minutes. A great movie will bring you into that story, and now you can't get up. You can't leave. So the story that we're telling, whether it's through social media, our phone calls, our personal notes, the story that we're telling has to invite people in. And if you've heard anything of Donald Miller, Business Made Simple, I'm just repeating what he says. I've tried to drink it from a fire hydrant and input it into our business in a relational way.
Is that a book?
So that's a little.
Brad,
it is. Yeah,
it's a book. Like audio also.
Yeah, Business Made Simple just came out. It's his book. Business Made Simple University is an online platform for under $300, and it's a great investment if you're looking for help with proposals. We've actually started to do video proposals for our listings. You think about a proposal and it's like, well, I'm not a plumber. What is a proposal, or what's the?
No. What is the way that you use a video proposal for your listing?
I record myself going over some talking points.
Okay.
I highlight what the expenses are to sell.
Mhm.
I highlight some of our clients who won in the past. Because right now, going back to adding value, I've got some notes on this, but I'm going to go off memory here. One of the challenges is, well, why should I pay you your fee? I know my home's going to sell. I'm just going to use the discount broker.
Right.
So one of the things that you have to do is you have to show them your value. And so what I did is I'll highlight 3 or 4 families inside of this video proposal. A lot easier to do that in a video format than it is, at somebody's kitchen table. And I'll put a picture of their house. I'll put their last name, and I'll say the Nicewander family listed their home with us. We listed for 309 and sold for 331,500. The buyer waived. We were able to help the buyer waive the appraisal, waive the inspection, and it sold for 20 some $1,000 over asking price. Oh, here's another family, the McDonald's. The McDonald's, we were going to price their home at 350, but at the very last minute, we thought we could go to 362.5. We got 5 offers, sold it for cash as is. So we helped them negotiate a great deal. Oh, by the way, here's another. So now we're giving them live examples of families that are winning with our service. And what that does is they don't ask the commission question anymore.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. And you get that access to doing that, you said, through this Business Made Simple relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
fantastic. I see the Paul's on there. That's awesome. Yeah, it's really revolutionized how we've changed our conversations with people, because it really is all about them. It's not just, hey, I'm here to list your house today.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's now the relationship of the whole picture. Yeah.
So a couple of results. We're in midstream. I shared one example with you, Carol. We're in midstream, so we had 100 of these sent out. The video followed. I have had 6 conversations with people that really want to know what their home is worth. We have 2 listings that have come from this, and a possible 1 more that I'm working on getting their proposal to them. So the 6 people that want to know what their home's worth, I will do this proposal, but I won't do it in a way that we're assuming that they want to list their house. It's just going to be more of an in-depth dive. And so these videos are anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. Sometimes I'll include the net sheet in there. Like, if you were going to sell today, this is what you're going to walk away with. That way, if they sell today or 2 years from now, they can have some expectations. I hear a lot of people say, well, I just bought this for 300, and if I sell it for 330, 3 years from now, I make $30,000. And we all know that's not true.
Yeah.
Because there's a net that belongs there. So 6 proposals or conversations about what somebody's home's worth, and then 2 listings. The conversation I shared with Carol the other day was, I had this couple that we worked with about 3 or 4 years ago. They bought a home for $120,500. They had 1 child at the time, ended up having a son who's a couple years old now, that has some health issues, and their home after expenses is probably going to net them $45,000 to $50,000. And here's the thing. When I sent them the video, he sent me a message back and he says, oh my goodness, we were just talking about you in our driveway. It's like, okay. We scheduled in the time to go to lunch. So we went to lunch last Monday, met with him and his wife had some medical procedures that they've racked up $20,000 in debt. They're paying $1,000 a month to the credit card companies. Their house payment's probably $800. And so when I sent that video and it says, what's the plan for your home's equity? They got to thinking like, I don't know. We don't have a plan. Brad, what should we do? And if we don't get any listings from this, knowing that you're helping and changing people's lives,
right?
They have $20,000 in debt. If they do a cash out refi, they owe $100,000 on this property. They still have plenty of equity. Pay off the credit card, save $1,000 a month.
Right.
So where this kind of transpired is they recognize that the cash out refi doesn't get them to their long-term plan. They have a son with special needs that is needing to go to another elementary school. And so we have an appointment with them in mid-April to get their home ready to stage, put it on the market, sell it, and help them go build another home. And those are two transactions, a buy and a sell, that's going to take place because we ask the question, what's the plan with your equity? And it's going to help this family save $1,000 a month, get out of credit card debt, and move on with their life.
And have a home that actually accommodates them. So that's such a great both and solution. And they hadn't thought about it. So great. Well, I love this question. What's the plan with your home equity?
We found that when you talk to multiple people, right? So one of the things that we did is we just didn't say, hey, it's a great time for everybody to sell, or what's the plan for your home's equity? We actually gave them examples. So, we said, hey, do you have anybody getting married this year? Anybody you're sending to college? So we actually put the thought in their mind of things that they could do with this equity. By nature, I'm conservative. I don't want anybody borrowing more than they can. But when prices have appreciated this much, there's some lives that can change. Like take this family, for example, that's going to save $1,000 a month to get that credit card bill knocked out and have money left over
and
for a
reduce
down
their
payment on that
stress.
thing. Absolutely.
That in itself is, you originally said that you wanted to educate your clients, you wanted to add value and then get more listings. But that answers that. Education happened. The value was an agreed upon value that they came up with. I forget what you called it, but it's the problem. And then and the results are, even if you didn't get the buy and the sell, you've got a lifelong advocate.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the relationship circle, taking a full circle. So.
And this guy works at a company with 2,000 employees, and I can promise you he's going back to work asking his employees and his coworkers, hey, what's the plan with your home's equity? Look what our realtor's doing. That's I think who we all want to be.
Yeah.
We want to be somebody of value, but it's a lot of hard work. This is 2 months of prep and planning, and one of your questions, Carol, is like, well, how did you come up with this? Well, there was, should that be the controlling? Should that be? There's a bunch of different ways you could go with it. So perfection doesn't live here. We just knew we needed to get that message out.
Can you talk a little bit about, and I want you to keep going on with what your plan is here, but I want you to kind of sidebar just a second and talk about how your vendor relationships tie in with this and how you utilize that from the business to business side, as well as you're the ultimate straw that stirs the drink, but that you bring these other people in. Because I know we've been in the situation where we had somebody that had financial issues. We connected them with the lender. They got all of that taken care of, based exactly what you're just talking about. And then they were in such a better position, and their mind was so much clearer that then they could see their way to their next dream step. So but because we kept that relationship we still have the relationship with the lender came back to us and said that here's where they are and here's what they're thinking. So, but they saw us as the kind of part of that hero's journey. So speak to your relationships with that.
Yeah, so I think one of the things we talk about, most realtors struggle to add value after the transaction's over. If you break down what we do, is we're experts in the process. I tell all of our clients this: we're supposed to be experts in the process. But once the process is over, what are we experts in? How are you adding value, after the fact? So I've always thought of my business like a financial advisor. Financial advisors talk a lot about money under management, like how much money under management that they have. Mm-hmm. So this financial advisor has 200 million under management. This company has $1 billion under management. And I've always loved the analogy of how much volume do you have under management. So I look at all the clients that we have worked with in the past as total volume under management. So if we've sold $200 million worth of real estate in 18 years, I manage $200 million worth of real estate. If you're in your first year and you've sold 6 homes, then, average sales price, figure that out, $1.5 million, $2 million. I don't know your market, but you have $2 million under management. Go serve those people. So your past clients is what you have to manage and what you've been gifted. And a lot of times, we get caught up in going to the next deal. Where that comes back to your vendors and contractors and such, Carol, is I believe that the main value we represent after they move is that vendor list. We call it our business directory.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, now is harder than ever because all the good ones are extremely busy. People have been staying home, fixing up their homes, and so you want a new tiled shower and a bathroom remodel, we're going to have to make more calls than we did 2 years ago. We're going to have to, work a little harder. But that's one of the main values we represent after the fact. So we're working very hard. It's actually one of our rocks for this next quarter is to go back and beef up our business directory because we understand how valuable that is. It's a personal frustration of mine when I see on social media a client or somebody asks, hey, do you have a good plumber? And there's 37 recommendations.
Yeah.
And then I'll pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got a great plumber. His name's Pat. He lives out in your area. He works by himself. He has the garage code to my house.
Yeah.
So there's where a powerful business directory works. So we want to go like Noah's Ark and find 2 of everybody and have a great database of vendors to be able to give to our clients. But it really starts with thinking about your business in terms of how many families you have under your management, under your wings that you can take care of, and then it's going out and working extremely hard to find all of those service providers.
I love that. Under how much you have under management. Have any of you guys ever thought of it that way? Like, think about that right now. Like, even for those of you who have not been in the business for that long, if you sold 5 houses and you have $1 million under management right now. I mean, who's going to take that apart, or take a 10 or 20 year career? We've got some people on here that have been around for a long time. You add it all up, that's quite a statement. So I like that.
It's humbling.
Yeah.
At least what we felt. It's humbling when you could be better. When you have the ability. Well, there's no listings right now. Well, great. You have however long you've been in real estate, $100 million under management. You have $10 million under management. Go serve them. Go ask them what's the plan for their home's equity.
Yeah. What's the if you got 6 actual sit down what's my home worth conversations started, and that's basically what you want is you want that seed to take place so that you start getting some little bit of roots going. What's the other side of that? Like, are the objections you hear the same objections that we're hearing? Well, what do you think is going to happen in the marketplace? People are quite confused. And so that equity then becomes like a little bit more heightened on the security level. So speak to how you handle that objection or that conversation.
Yeah. So in our, I don't want to deviate too far from the question, but in our marketplace, we have in-office exclusives where our sellers can sign up knowing they're signing up for this, and we fully communicate the pros and cons to show their house off market to our buyers that we have. Mm-hmm. So luckily, we have 5 agents on my team, and in our brokerage, we're a small team, small brokerage. Someday we want to grow up and be just like you guys. But for today, one of the things that we've really worked hard is to find those homes for our buyers. So when somebody says, what's my home worth? I'm scared, I'm nervous, what do I do? Timing, this and that. We have 10 families right now, just in our little team, that are all under in-office exclusives, that are under contract, they're buying and selling, and they're keeping it in-house, and they know that there's benefit. So we share those stories. So when somebody, I think this is the way you're asking the question, Carol, when somebody says, well, what do I do? I have all this equity. I don't know. Maybe we want to move. Then I can share this story and I can say, well, one of the things that we just did with Brandon and Angie is, we had an investor buy their home because cash flow is great. And that investor lets them stay there 3 months free rent. And then there's a step up in rent until their home is finished, because Brandon and Angie have decided to build a home, but they couldn't start until their home sold.
Okay.
So again, I believe in this, and I'm borrowing most of this from Donald Miller. Businesses exist. The only reason businesses exist is to solve a problem. And if you're not solving your clients' problems, it's not going to be long before you're out of business. You have to wake up every day and know, I'm going to be faced with obstacles. I'm going to be faced with challenges because I'm called to solve their problems. The more problems I can solve for people, the more clients I'm going to have. The more they're going to tell their friends. People talk when there's problems. And they talk bad if you didn't handle it right. And they talk great about you when you came in and saved the day and solved their problem. So we're in the solutions business.
Do you see, do you also see that, I see a trend of, not a trend, but I see happening, watching interaction with people on social media particularly, is the naysayers, the complainers are operating from a defensive position versus the offensive position of going out and looking elsewhere. If you got 20 people out looking for, 20 kids out looking for Easter eggs, and they're all in the same little bunch, versus somebody who goes out to places that you wouldn't think of, you have different kinds of results. And that's what I kind of have seen in this marketplace is the more, the less creative in ways of uncovering listings are not just people who want to move. That's just the reality is, and then you just alluded to that in how you put people together with somebody who wants to invest and somebody who needs some time. So
I think it comes back to being able to solve a problem. So not only do you have to solve your clients' problems, you have to solve your own problems. If transaction volume is down for you, what problem are you going to go solve, or what opportunities? A different way to say it's what opportunities are you going to create? The one of the best parts about real estate, other than the fact that we don't have any recurring revenue, is there's different ways to make an income. You can help a buyer, you can help a seller, you can help an investor, you can help a family build, you can get referral fees. If I was repurposing, this conversation, I could say something like, what's your plan to earn $20,000 in referral fees this year?
Right. It's a great question.
That's a way to stir it up. What's another skill set that you can add? We've got 5 investors under contract right now that 2-3 years ago, not many people were coming to Indiana to invest. We other people call us the flyover states here in the Midwest. But I do believe that, now the coasts are paying attention that you can still buy affordable real estate here. And so there's an opportunity for us. If we didn't have that, our transaction volume would be even lower. So we've got to find those opportunities. So yeah, I think finding opportunities for your own business is critical. Reinventing yourself. But when it comes to our clients, so we've got a client who's, pre-approved at 550, and house for 447 comes on the market. He wants to make an offer. How many think he got it? No, it sold for much higher than 550. So if he's at 550, we're going to go look at 450, and we're going to say, you can remodel the kitchen. I know you don't like this at 450, but you can remodel. You can, update your bathrooms. So it's taking, some creative solutions to get around some of the challenges in this market.
Right. I think taking their focus too. I think that's one of the biggest, and probably anybody on here who's dealing with buyers right now would agree that one of the biggest things is this whole little group of, all looking for the best Easter egg. They're all like following all the fancy stuff that comes out. And then you get these, these ones that do need a little love, or they need some tweaking here and there, and it's kind of hard to get their attention there. I don't know if anybody has any tricks that they're using, but maybe you could offer up some of that. Is kind of getting their attention off it's already done. So yeah.
Elaborate on that a little bit. You cut out for just a second when you were asking the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just asking if anybody has anybody on this call has any suggestions of things that are working to get people's attention off of like the obviously totally redone, very cool house that everybody's going to, and that's where the 30-40 offers are coming in. What are you doing? Are you introducing them to the concepts and the costs of, and the people who can do some of those things for them? Like for instance, what you said, Brad, remodel the kitchen, remodel the bathrooms. Who's got some tricks up their sleeve or things that they're using? So anybody want to?
Yeah, I'll chime in. I'll chime in while somebody's thinking about this. I think a lot of it starts at the buyer's appointment. The initial buyer's consult. That we all try to do. If you set the stage for what this market is and educate them and add value, at that initial appointment, these are things that we all should be talking about. Hey, thanks for signing up with us. Thanks for meeting with us. Here's something that we understand. We understand that average real estate transactions cost people thousands of dollars extra. You shouldn't have to pay thousands of dollars extra. So here's what we're going to do so that you don't get caught paying thousands of dollars extra. Here are some opportunities in the market right now. And so I think, Carol, to answer that for us anyway, is early and often educating them from the very beginning about all of the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I would echo what Brad said. I think he framed that point very well. I think I kind of walk our clients through the same dialogue, and you use a good analogy there, Carol. With the everybody's kind of going to where all the Easter eggs are visible. Meanwhile, there's other ones hidden in good places, right? So, we'll talk about the fact that the ones that are in the very best condition are the ones that are also the most competitive right now, and that you still have competition on properties in our market area. We're in like the suburbs of Philadelphia, so we're Bucks County, Montgomery County, just outside of the city, and even properties that need some fixing up are competitive, but they're not as competitive, and so. If they can find the right floor plan, the right house in the right neighborhood and potentially spend, $50, $70, $100,000 less than the one that's getting bid like just crazy over asking, that's a good thing to do. And Brad made another good point that, hey, if your budget, for example, is $500,000, we should probably be looking maybe up to a ceiling of $450, and just, don't look at $5 if $5 is your budget right now, because that's not selling for $5, it's selling for $550, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good, is having that the hard conversations up front. I think it's so much easier than trying to pull their heads back away from the ones that are so attractive. But tying back into the business network, and making sure you've really got some tight relationships and dependable people there you can put your name to, is also going to be really, really a hot spot, because like you said, you just can't get anybody, and it takes a lot longer to get it all done. So somebody who doesn't want to move into a kitchen that's nasty, doesn't want to wait 6 months to a year in order to, to have to live through it. So yeah, we're more than, I don't even see us as being real estate sellers anymore. I think more so we're the guide on this journey. So yeah, that's a really good point. Anybody else have anything that they have found to be helpful and useful, and getting people to see through what could be versus what is?
Carol, if you don't mind me hopping in just for a second again, I know I kind of threw it up in the chat bar there about the Donald Miller content. I would encourage everybody to look at that. I think I pay an annual subscription fee of maybe $275 for that Business Made Simple content. And much like Brad said, my, following that and sort of reading a lot of Donald's stuff and just listening to podcasts and things, it really has changed the way we've talked to our clients and talked them through scenarios and used stories, past examples to really, correlate their situation or a step we're trying to walk them through and help them kind of relate to it. So I think it really helps you think about what you're saying and the message you're delivering, and you know, just to hear you talk through how you guys developed that campaign, Brad. It was really cool to hear how that, you know, you took everything that Miller talks about and really applied it to something that's been very effective and really is a scalable message, right? Because many of the people you sent that out to probably have no plans of moving, but there's you open a door of opportunity to add value to them, and that's always the goal. Is like, if they're not going to, you know, transact from a campaign like that when you're working with by relationship or by referral, that they respond in some way where you're able to at least add value to them, you know, and I think that's fantastic. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And the hard part is, so Business Made Simple was kind of birthed out of Donald's book Story Brand, like you mentioned in the chat. And it's funny, around our office now, story brand is a verb. So it's like, oh, did you story brand that? You know, you're going to send us email out. Did you story brand that? I'm gonna call to wish somebody a happy home anniversary. Did you story brand that? And so what we're saying, if I can peel this back, so for those that haven't heard about story brand, or now called Business Made Simple, there's the hero, the guide, the victim, and the villain in every good story. And it's our job to be the guide. Our clients are the hero. They're the hero in their own story. When you post on social media like, hey, I got 27 offers on this property, everybody's thinking, well, great, you should have. Doesn't every home sell in 97 seconds? You know, so you're not the hero. You're the guide, and you're here to guide. So think of great movies like, you know, Shawshank. You know, Red was the guide. You know, he was the one that, you know, he wasn't going to Zihuatanejo, you know, but you followed the story, and the hero got beat up. The hero was, you know, accused of a crime he didn't commit. And the hero spent 20 years in jail, in prison. But the guide was there, and he was steady. And he was there to help in any way possible. And he's what made that story go. You are the guide in your client's story. And so positioning yourself as that, you will win more listings. But you'll win more listings because you're adding value.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love the stories. I was just thinking about the stories again. Stories is what makes it. And I think people are in such a place that they need. So the reason why many people are moving back home again. I mean, I've had so many referrals to people that are from Omaha. We moved away, you know, either military or not military, and we want to come home. You know, we have somebody that's coming in that's a guy 80 years old, and his daughter and son-in-law are moving with him from California because he was born in Council Bluffs. Like it's people are coming home to stories, and it's the stories that I think is of anything you've said today, building this all around stories, even your videos with stories. I think that the heightened awareness that we need to speak differently to people than we have been, not from the linear logical place, but from the heart and soul place, and where the stories come from of this is the relationship and the relating to. So I really love that. So we have about 5 minutes left. Anybody have any questions or any comments or anything they want to add or want Brad to expand upon a little bit, or then throw that up in the chat, or just unmute yourself and chat with us.
Raise your hand. I'd love to hear from you. But while somebody's thinking of their question, I have one more story to share. So as we're putting all this together, this whole campaign, this CMA campaign that we're doing, my assistant's helping out. I get a message from her, right? Because what do we say? We said, hey, you know, what can you do with your home's equity? You can help pay for a wedding. You can send your kids to college. You can do this, 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 and this, and this. Well, she lives in a home that's pretty good size on some land, and her youngest is going to college this year, and her oldest is getting married. So the other night, as we're prepping for the presentation, the other night she texted me and she's like, hey, I want to talk to you after the wedding. I think we want to put our house on the market and downsize. It's just going to be my husband and I think we should start looking. I mean, she's worked with me for 5 years, you know, but because of narrative transportation, she now sees herself in the story that we're telling. She's now somebody who raised her hand and said, hey, I want to take part in this.
Well, you know, I some people here that know me know this is something I always refer to myself as a transition agent, not as a real estate agent, but because somebody is always transitioning in life. you know, whether it's getting married, whether it's having a baby, even a job change, kids going to college, downsizing, deaths, divorces. There's some transition going on. Even an investment person, there's something transitioning in their life that causes the need to rethink where their money's going or where they're going. And so I think if we see ourselves there, we can probably put ourselves immediately into being the storyteller as well. Is that we are the storyteller around people's transitioning in life. And so many people, if they sit down and they log the moments in their life, they will all have something to do with their move. You know, that will be a turning point. This year we moved here. This year we moved here. This year our kids went to college, and then moves around that. So personally, I'm just thrilled with this entire conversation, and I really totally appreciate it. So you want to wrap up, Brad, and then we'll be done. This will be forever memorialized in our library, so people can refer to.
Oh, I
That's
thought it was at 11. It was at 10.
Yes.
Hey, Vivian.
It'll be recorded, Vivian. So we'll be able to we'll send you the link to it. It was fantastic. Go ahead.
My friend Vivian. Yeah. So just to kind of put a bow on it, I don't know how to double your listings. I wish I had that secret, or else we'd start writing some books, selling them, and, you know, come and speak in your city, I guess. But I just want to offer some free advice on some things that we're doing. Is we're taking Donald Miller's Business Made Simple platform and framework, and we're tying that into making sure that we can tell a story that invites our clients in. We are no longer the hero. That also has to do with agents in your marketplace. You know, how are you making the other agent the hero? And so just start having conversations that are mindful of what other people are going through, and do it in a way that you're the professional, add value, and people will want to know what they should do with their home's equity.
There you go. All right. Any other wrap-up questions, comments? Thank you guys all for staying with us through this whole thing. Brad, always the best. Thank you so much for pouring your heart out for us. And hopefully you all walk away with at least one or two really good nuggets that'll make somewhat of a change in your business from today to tomorrow. So thanks all of you also who joined us from the White Hats group. So we'll talk
Awesome.
to you all later.
Yeah, connect with us online, and if you have any questions or any follow-up, if I can be of any value or help, I'll be more than happy to do so, Carol.
And Brad, you're going to send me that your deck, all of that, and the letter and stuff, and I'll
And the video, yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much. Gold.
Awesome.
Pure gold. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brad.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad and Carol. Appreciate it. It was great.
Thanks.
Good seeing you, Paul.
Good to see you.
Thanks for joining
All
us.